Hello guys, my name is Nash. Welcome to Thursday Tales of Terror. TDT. Today's case will be from India and it happened in 2011. Apologies if I pronounce any names incorrectly, it is not my intention to do so. Known as Soumya murder case, it was a criminal case which involved the rape and death of 23-year-old Soumya in India. In the latest statistic report by the National Crime Records Bureau in 2021, rape is the fourth most common crime against women in India. Reportedly, 31,677 rape cases were registered across the country. That's an average of 86 cases daily, while nearly 49 cases of crime against women were lodged every single hour. We don't know how many cases have gone unreported, as many victims still choose to keep silent for many reasons. For 23-year-old Soumya, she unfortunately passed away 5 days after the attack, even before she could do anything. Soumya was travelling on a passenger train alone when she was being targeted by a guy that was also on the train. He entered the compartment that she was in and started attacking her. The attack caused her to become dazed and practically immobilized. She was then dropped from the running train down to the track, and of course when that happened, she sustained serious injuries, especially to her face. He dragged her body to a nearby place and proceeded to rape her. And after satisfying his lust, he took whatever valuables items she had and left her there. What exactly happened and why didn't anyone help her? Let's dive into the Soumya murder case. Soumya was born in Manjakat, Shonur, Kerala, India. She was only 23 years old at the time of the incident. Her family, consisting of her mother and her younger brother, were poor and they were living their livelihood from Soumya's monthly salary. It was reported that Soumya was working as a sales girl at a mall in Ernakulam. Once in a while during the holidays, Soumya would go to her house at Shonur by the passenger train which leaves in the evening. The travelling time from Ernakulam to Shonur is about 2 to 3 hours, and I believe that after she had this job, she moved out of a family home to live near to her work for convenience. During her time at work, she got acquainted with a young man who was also employed at Ernakulam. He was friends with some of her co-workers. They liked each other and soon the guy proposed to her and she agreed. The families were happy and they approved the marriage. They then decided to conduct a ceremony in fixing their betrothal at Soumya's house. So on 1st February 2011 at about 5:30 p.m, Soumya excitedly boarded the ladies division in the last compartment of the Ernakulam-Shonur passenger train at the Ernakulam Town North Railway Station. When the train reached Thrissur, most of the passengers in that ladies division got down. Another lady who was also present in that ladies division got down when the train reached Wada Kancheri. At that time, Soumya felt a little uneasy and uncomfortable because she noticed there was someone staring at her. It was a guy and he was standing outside the compartment and peeping through the window to look at Soumya. When the train reached Mulokara, the remaining passengers got down. As there was nobody else in the ladies division of that compartment, Soumya changed to another ladies compartment to be nearer to the general compartment that had people in it. The train then reached Valatol Nagar railway station where it lay idle for some time. Now this was when the guy who was peeping at Soumya started making his move as he noticed that Soumya was alone. His name was Govinda Chami. When the train left Valatol Nagar railway station and moved towards Shonur, Govinda Chami swiftly hoisted into that ladies compartment and rushed to Soumya. Soumya immediately screamed and she was frantically running around the compartment, but there was little she could do as there was limited space available in the compartment. She resisted hard, but eventually she was caught. Govinda Chami wasted no time. He pulled her hair and hit her head repeatedly against the walls of the compartment. He hit her head so hard against the wall that she became dazed and was unable to move. She was no longer screaming or crying for help because the impact to her head really got to her. She was then dropped from the running train down to the track. The side of her face was forcibly hit on the crossover of the railway line. Without much thought, Govinda Chami also got down from the running train by jumping off from the other side. He rushed to her and lifted her to a shady place at the side of the track. He hurriedly tore away and removed her dress and raped the poor girl whose face was full of blood from the injuries. She couldn't push him away or defend herself at this point because she was severely injured. And if that wasn't bad enough, Govinda Chami ransacked her belongings. He searched her bag and took her mobile phone, which was the only valuable material she had with with her. He then left Soumya there with most of her clothes off. Now, when the assault happened in the train, Soumya screamed pretty loudly and her screams were heard by some passengers. There were actually 2 male passengers on the train and they were seated in the general compartment. This general compartment was just right in front of the ladies' compartment where Soumya was in. One of them had wanted to pull the alarm chain to stop the train, but he was dissuaded by another passenger who was a middle-aged man. The middle-aged man was standing at the door on the right rear side of that compartment and he said that the girl had jumped out and escaped. He also warned the other passenger to not drag others unnecessarily to court. I'm unsure what he meant by that statement, but because he did nothing, a poor girl was brutally assaulted and raped. Soumya was so close to going home, it would only take 10 more minutes to reach her destination. When the train reached Shonur, the 2 male passengers decided to tell the guard of the train about the incident. A search began along the track by some young men of the locality and workers of the Valatol Naga railway station. The search lasted for about a few hours and at about 9:30 p.m. they spotted an almost naked, distorted, mutilated body at the side of the track. Soumya was fighting for her life and she was seen moving her right hand and right leg. Blood was seen oozing out from the injuries on her face and head. She had difficulty breathing and there were obstructions in her airway as blood had aspirated into it. By the time they discovered her, the left side of her body had become paralytic. They took Soumya to the Shonur-Thrissur Road and from there she was taken immediately to the casualty of the Medical College Hospital. A police report was made and they began investigating. Soumya was given all possible medical assistance and support. Surgical operations were done on Soumya but her condition wasn't looking very optimistic. She had to be placed on a ventilator and her condition remained critical throughout. By 6 February 2011, her condition became worse and her peripheral pulses were not felt. In the last consultation by the neurosurgeon at 2:30 p.m. on 6 February 2011, her ECG was found to be a flat line, BP was not recordable, and cardiac sounds were not heard. She was then declared dead at 3 p.m. on that day. Govinda Chami was fortunately arrested and was put on trial. Govinda Chami was 30 years old at the time of the incident and he was from Virudachalam in Tamil Nadu. He was a one-handed beggar and this was not his first time committing a crime. He was a habitual offender and has been convicted in 8 cases in Tamil Nadu from 2004 to 2008. He also had a robbery case that was still in progress. A post-mortem examination was conducted by Dr. Shirley, who was then working as professor and head of Department of Forensic Medicine, MCH, Thrissur. She was assisted by 5 other doctors. The cause of death in the final report stated that Soumya had died due to the injuries sustained to the head as a result of blunt impact and fall. Complications include aspiration of blood into the air passages, which resulted in anoxic brain damage. Apart from that, Soumya had other injuries from the assault and rape which were featured in terms of multiple organs dysfunction at the time of her death. Dr. Shirley's final conclusion was that there was no doubt her death was due to murder, not an accident. The victim was in no condition to even escape or react after 6 severe head injuries were inflicted on her. On 30th October 2011, Govinda Chami was found guilty in the rape and murder case of Soumya and was later sentenced to death by the fast-track court. He remained indifferent throughout the court proceedings. Even when the fast-track court sentenced him to death, the first thing he said after that was, "Could you arrange a tea and vade for me?" In case y'all didn't know, vade is a snack. So from that statement itself, he definitely didn't feel remorseful or guilty for what he did. The High Court of Kerala also upheld the trial court verdict in December 2013. The Supreme Court, however, set aside the murder charges and altered to rigorous imprisonment for 7 years. The Supreme Court pointed out that the discrepancies in the statements of witnesses produced by the prosecution led to the quashing of the death sentence of Govinda Chami. The prosecution was not able to explain whether Soumya jumped from the train or somebody pushed her. According to the statements of 2 witnesses produced by the prosecution, Soumya had jumped from the train. However, the doctor says in the medical report that Soumya was thrown off the train. According to the Evidence Act, the statement of the witness has more significance than the medical report, which is based on the doctor's assumptions. One of the witnesses was a man who stood near the train door, but neither the prosecution nor the investigating team were able to find this person. Even so, the prosecution still failed to prove that Soumya had been pushed off the train. If they are not able to prove this, then the head injury alone is not enough to cause her death. One thing to note was that a new team was being appointed as prosecutions in the Supreme Court trial, and many people believe that this new team was weak in trying to establish the accused intentions. It was also revealed that the forensic expert who conducted Soumya's autopsy claimed that the new team didn't approach her before arguing the case in the Supreme Court. My report elaborated all injuries found on Soumya's body. I had also testified in the trial court for 4 days to clear the court's doubts. The High Court took the post-mortem report as crucial evidence. However, the prosecution in the Supreme Court ignored me. The Kerala government is struggling to explain why the former prosecutor A. Surasant, who fought the case in the lower court and High Court, was not appointed for the Supreme Court task. Surasant said the government didn't issue any orders to appoint him as a prosecutor or advisor to the Standing Counsel when the case came up in the Supreme Court. Even though Govindachamy was sentenced to 7 years in prison, the Supreme Court will still uphold the life imprisonment given by the trial court on charges of rape. Many people were sad and angry with the verdict, and family members of Soumya really wanted the capital punishment for Govindachamy. Kali Swaram Raj, a prominent lawyer in the Supreme Court and Kerala High Court, felt that the verdict was shockingly soft and highly dispiriting. He felt that the court could have done more. There were other punishable offences which were not properly dealt with. Those included extortion, assault, etc., which deserve separate jail terms. Soumya's mother was extremely disappointed and heartbroken, and so she filed for a petition. She said that her daughter's death was too cruel. She felt that the new team had failed to represent the case properly, and she would not give up her fight to get justice for her daughter. On November 11, 2016, the Supreme Court dismissed her petition. The case also garnered a great deal of media attention. Putting aside the brutality of the rape and murder, Govindachamy was actually represented by a very prominent criminal lawyer, B.A. Alur. How did a beggar and an alleged habitual petty offender managed to get the service of one of the top criminal lawyers, and an expensive one at that, to appear for him in the case? According to media reports, at the time of Soumya murder, Govindachamy's name was Charlie Thomas in Tamil Nadu police records, and his lawyer also revealed that he was engaged by a network of criminals from Tamil Nadu who had links to Mumbai underground activities. But why would such a group be spending a huge amount of money on a beggar? Was Govindachamy a part of a bigger, powerful syndicate? Who exactly was he? And so we have come to an end for today's case story. It's horrible how a poor innocent girl who was going to get married soon had her life ended in such a tragedy. I felt that Soumya could have been saved if the passengers on the train had raised the alarm immediately. Do you think Soumya jumped off the train by herself, or was she being pushed? And what do you guys think about the new team being appointed during the Supreme Court trial? Let me know what are your thoughts, and as usual, please stay safe, and I hope to see you guys again on Thursday.